welcome to Tip Tuesday at NLF Live. Trying to figure out where the camera is now. Here we go. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about whether or not we can actually represent two people at the same time in the same case. And this tends to come up in co-defendant matters where two people have been accused of a crime. Usually we don't do that type of representation. It's better for people to have separate attorneys advising them because your interests may be competing, right? If you're pointing the finger at one another and saying, it wasn't me who did it, it was the other person, well, I can't represent the same two parties in that type of circumstance because my duty of loyalty, I should probably stop walking on the treadmill. My duty of loyalty would be pulled in two different directions. So one of the things to remember is, as attorneys, we owe our clients a duty of loyalty. And if we're representing the same party, we owe that duty of loyalty to both. But if for some reason what we're doing is causing us to advocate less for one party or advocate more for one party over another, then our duty of loyalty has been impeded, and we're likely going to have to advise one of the parties to get another attorney. Another thing that we take into consideration is, whether or not there's going to be an issue with client confidentiality, because we owe a duty of confidentiality to our clients. So are we going to have an agreement from one party and the other that we can exchange information about how one party feels about settlement and how that person wants to proceed with the case? Typically, that's not something we would share with anyone. But if we're representing both parties, because settlement discussions are imperative, like we're going to have to talk about it, and we're going to have to know what the other party is trying to do, that's going to have to be something that we're willing to share. Now, we won't waive confidentiality with any outside parties, but that's a requirement before we proceed with representation, and something for people to take into consideration when deciding, do you want the same attorney representing both of you? And another thing that we tend to go over, of course, like this is an agreement that has to be put into writing. If two people come to us, let's say a mother and a daughter were in a car together when they got into an accident and they decided to falsify, a claim with the insurance company, and both of them get charged in the complaint, but they want representation from just one firm. Well, they would have to, acknowledge that there is a potential for conflict there. And so long as they agree in writing that they want to go forward and recognize that there's a potential conflict and understand that if an actual conflict comes into place, we're going to have to come off of one or both of their matters, we'll get that waiver in writing, and then we can proceed. It's a very rare occasion when we actually do it because it's, hard to find a situation where that potential conflict can't eventually turn into an actual conflict unless, you two are just really on the same page of how you want to get this resolved and what you want to see happen. A lot of times in co-defendant cases, like I said before, people are just going at it with each other and pointing the finger at one another. It wasn't me that was driving, it was him, or it wasn't me that pulled the trigger, it was the other person. I was just, I just so happened to be in the place and I saw what happened, so I'm going to flip and I'm going to testify against them. That's typically what you see in the co-defendant cases. So as long as somebody's willing to recognize the potential conflict, reduce it to writing that they are waiving any conflict and agree to joint representation, they understand what our duties of confidentiality are and the information that we're going to have to share, and they understand that we owe a duty of loyalty to both and we can't be pulled in one direction over another. So long as that happens, we will consider representing both parties, or you are able to get joint representation in a case. If you have any questions about joint representation in a criminal case, you can always call us at the Nieves Law Firm, 510-588-8580, or the tracking number that you see on the screen. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to Tip Tuesday. Bye.